Hello there, class. Here is our second lecture as per the syllabus. This one you should be looking at and finish with by February 7th at 5. You should have done the reading required for this class prior to finishing the class. And there will be a quiz at the end of this reading. Our agenda for this lecture is we're going to talk about media issues facing us today. I'm then going to give you a brief overview of the history of media in the U.S., how each different media type arose, many of them based on technological advances. We're then going to take like a sharp left turn, so to speak, and talk about, maybe it's a right turn, I don't know, and talk about China. The most popular media format in China is something called WeChat. And I'm going to borrow some slides from the lecture that a former student of mine did for this class a year or two ago. It's about a year ago. She had actually worked in China for a couple of years and did a really good job covering that topic for my class. And I'm just going to kind of purloin her slides. I hope she forgives me. I'm then going to recap some key media terms and concepts that we've talked about in the first lecture, but I just want to repeat them again to kind of drill them in a little bit. And then we're going to talk about the My Media Journey assignment. Okay. So, major trends and issues facing media today. First of all, yes, there is definitely an overall move to digital with the advent of the internet in the mid-'80s. And the stronger and stronger move towards it, more and more people in our country having access to the internet. It really kind of beat out other media types, traditional media types, in the minds of many advertisers because it was relatively inexpensive to buy ads on websites. And more importantly, results were very measurable, or so they felt, because it's the most direct of direct media. Because you actually respond right on the medium. You click on something. It's recorded. It's digitized. It goes into a database. It's a permanent record. And it challenged other media that were less measurable and less accountable. And so one of the reactions of every other media type was to develop a digitization or a digital version of the terrestrial real-world version. So newspapers went online, everything went online, radio, etc. So that's a definite trend, and that definitely isn't going anywhere. Will all media ever be digital? Well, probably so at some point. May take a while. There'll be different timings for each type of media, but yeah. Well, this is a big one. Data privacy. You know what? I'm actually going to go on here. I said it was a big one. Let's see. Let's make it a bigger one. Make our points here, right? Data privacy, data privacy, data privacy is big. Right. Okay, so we'll go back here. One of the most important issues in all of media now is data privacy because, again, of these internet media companies, there are several giants, 3 giants now dominating internet media in our country. And you know who they are. It's the usual suspects. And this is a topic, is something you spend a whole class on, and I do discuss it a lot in my database marketing class, just a lot. And we all know that because I'm sure a lot of you are on social sites, probably on Instagram as opposed to Facebook. Some of you may be on Twitter. I'm sure a lot of you use Google for searches. Many of you shop on Amazon, although there is kind of a backlash somewhat against that now in favor of these poor Old-fashioned brick-and-mortar retailers are kind of being wiped out. Anyway, they have the information. They have the clicks. They have surveys we filled out. They have all kinds of information about our banking and purchases and our demographics. I could just go on and on. First, each one of these companies is using that information for its own advantage. So it tries to tailor advertising, for instance, for what they think their users will want, etc. So that's the first thing they do. The second thing they do is that many of these companies, particularly Facebook and also Google, make data available to other parties. And they don't have permission for a lot of these things. And in our country right now, there is not a federal countrywide privacy policy. It's been talked about. I believe one was started in California recently. This is in contrast to the European Union, where there is a stronger privacy policy, where consumers like you and me, the little people like you and me, if you forgive that expression, are regarded as having some rights to their own data, and certain usage of it cannot be made without their permission. So, nevertheless, data privacy is a huge issue facing all media today. And one of the things that these data are used for, particularly, say, with a company like Facebook, which has talked about it probably more than any other company, they can do micro-targeting using the information they have about us. This can be used for product advertising. It can be even used for political campaigns. So that's another controversial area, because I think there's a sense out there that somehow this takes advantage of information that wasn't really given to them, and it enables people to manipulate other people in ways that aren't entirely fair or right or ethical. Again, due to the good old internet, all of a sudden there's an ability to publish or make available to broad numbers of people content with no or very, very little editorial control. Most of this is user-generated content. So, TV shows, Ed Sullivan Show, from when I was a kid, it's where the Beatles first performed, didn't allow audience members to tape their own stuff and send it in and run it. I mean, everything was kind of produced by people who were in the entertainment business. And, YouTube's a little different. So, point being that this is the content area now for media, that this lack of editorial control has a lot of implications. It means that things can be put up that are misleading or untrue, sometimes by accident, sometimes on purpose, and this can have great influence on events and on people, some of these influences can become tragic. And that's something that's this fake news thing has become a strange kind of expression, because there is real fake news, but sometimes the real news is called the fake news to fake us out. Does that make sense? Okay, all issues with media today. Maybe one reason there's more fake news is to hit the off button. Yes, brilliant. Yeah. Decrease of investigative reporting, because, again, due to primarily the internet, the newspaper business, which was kind of the mothership or fathership of investigative reporting and has been in our country ever since the country was founded, have lost a lot of money to internet companies. I mean, newspapers, a huge part of their business used to be what's called classified advertising. So you'd have to look at your local newspaper to find an apartment in your city, or to find a job, or to find a car. Guess what? That's not where you look anymore, is it? To find any of those things. And that's just one of the ways in which newspapers have lost revenue. And of course, when you lose revenue, you can't afford to pay as many people. And newspapers have cut back on the editorial side. They've cut back on reporters. And these reporters who do investigative reporting. Investigative reporting is free speech, and it's in the First Amendment, and we see less and less of this investigative reporting, of truth-telling to the powerful to try to help us little people, and more of this fake news coming from Lord knows where sometimes. So that's another issue. On a sort of a different tack, the media companies are all buying each other up. This has been going on in business for some time. So these companies become bigger and bigger and bigger. Most recently, as I'm sure you all know, Disney bought all the entertainment properties of Fox Broadcasting. Fox Broadcasting kept sports and news and sold The Simpsons and Family Guy and all the other content that Fox has produced for television to Disney, and on and on and on and on and on. And that has implications. One of which is companies have potential monopolies in certain areas, and of course, once again, I'm going to go back to these huge internet companies, the Googles, the Facebooks, the Amazons, really are in many ways monopolies. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg was asked if Facebook was a monopoly. He said, well, no. Who's your competition? Oh, I have lots of competition. Yeah, from Google and Amazon, but not from anybody in the social networking business, not from the market he's operating in. I mean, he completely dominates that market, and then he buys Instagram, which gives him a foothold for the younger generation. I mean, these companies are big and have a lot of control and get things their way, and that has in the past been dangerous. So these are some of, I'm sure you can think of more on your own, but these are some of the trends and issues facing media today. I'm now going to stop for a second, and we're going to play a little quick video commenting on one or two of these issues.